Senator Hawley. You're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thanks to the witnesses for being here. Mr. Kirk, if I could just start with you, help me understand the scope of what you're looking at with the Restaurant Revitalization Fund and the Shuttered Venue Operators Act. These are the programs you've identified that are currently under shorter statutory limitations that you think that we need to adjust. And partly that's because, as you outline in your written testimony, there is a good deal of potential fraud here that it sounds like to me your office and others are currently running down. Is that fair to say?
That is correct, Senator. Thank you for the question. Yes, we're running it down. I will acknowledge that I've only been in place 7 weeks or so. I have learned that really there's been an inadequate attention paid to investigating RRF and SVOG fraud. We can do much better. I commit to you we will do much better. We have only a handful of investigations underway. To me, it's an absolute priority. But it will be critically important for us to have an extension of the statute of limitations to be able to continue those investigations.
You say only a handful of investigations have been performed or are currently underway, but it sounds like on the basis of your written remarks that the potential fraud in the restaurant revitalization program is quite large. Is that fair to say?
Yes, Senator. There's potential fraud in the billions of dollars.
Billions with a B.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I'm reading from your written testimony. You say OIG in one review identified 33,168 restaurant revitalization recipients who had also received PPP loans that had been marked as potentially fraudulent or ineligible. These recipients received nearly, not quite, $11 billion in RRF funds, and you go on to outline that a bare minimum of these, a tiny percentage, have had any kind of substantive review. It sounds like there's a lot to be done here.
We have our work cut out for us, and we will make good use of the additional time in the statute of limitations. Indeed, there is a tremendous amount of fraud that has been uncovered, identified, potential fraud. Not all of it has been proven. Obviously, we have work to do to ensure that fraudsters are brought to justice, but it is billions of dollars, Senator.
You say that your recommendation called for review of more than 61,000 RRF awards totaling almost $10 billion.
That's correct.
That's quite substantial. Why is it that there's been so little investigation done before now? Do you have a sense of that?
Thank you, Senator. The magnitude of work available to us to do is significant. I have come to know that the investigators and auditors that are in the SBA OIG right now are really dedicated professionals. I believe that they were performing their duties in other areas. The pandemic and idle fraud is significant. We have so much work to do. Having said that, we can't ignore one area of fraud just because we've got fraud in others. We are going to attack this fraud. We're going to do it diligently. I'm really honored to be named to the Pandemic Recovery Accountability Committee because I selfishly will look forward to using the PRAC to be able to identify more of the fraud. For example, it would be impossible for our staff to review manually 61,000 loans. But with the data analytical capability of the PRAC, we'll be able to do a much better job of that and return far more money to the taxpayer. We need that time, though. We need the extension of the statute of limitations to undertake that work.
And remind us when it runs out one more time, Mr. Kirk. When does the statute
some of them as early as March or April.
Very soon.
It's very soon.
We need to act immediately.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad that you're making this a top priority. Obviously, we've seen in recent weeks, I think, just the scope of the pandemic-era fraud that has continued into the present. I had testimony at another committee. One expert suggested that we could be looking at as much as $1 trillion in fraud every year. Not all of that pandemic fraud, of course, but that's an astounding number. I think the American people are astounded and also sickened by the fact that their tax dollars are being used to fund fraudsters, buy private planes, luxury yachts. In one case, there were 12,000 pounds of $100 bills smuggled out of suitcases in the city of Minneapolis. I mean, this is outrageous stuff. Any dollar of fraud is outrageous, but the scale that you're talking about here is truly alarming. What's the first order of business for you? We get this statute extended, which is what we've got to do. What's the next order of business for you in terms of tackling this?
Oh, thank you, Senator. As I mentioned to our staff, our focus is fraud, fraud, fraud. I mean, there's 3 things we're concentrating on. We need to dedicate our investigative capabilities to identify the fraud, return the dollars to the taxpayer. the first priority really is to leverage data analytics, because when you're talking about billions, even trillions of dollars and hundreds of thousands of loans, it's simply not possible to do manual reviews in these cases. We have to use data analytics. The fraudsters are taking advantage of the technology. We need to be able to do so as well.
Very good. Well, I hope that we can get the statute of limitations extended so you'll be able to do your work. Thank you for the terrific work you're doing, both of you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.